How could Frost, who was known for his normally calm demeanor, lose it so completely? Was this just pent-up wrath? Or is there a deeper, more twisted story behind this? You won't believe how quickly things escalated in the heat of the moment. Mona Scott was mercilessly smashed into a set pillar, leaving her profoundly traumatized. The event occurred instantly, went viral, prompting disagreements, emotions, and significant speculation. Fans, journalists, and even other celebrities have all joined in on the subject. Confrontation. So, what's actually going on behind the scenes? Why did Kirk Frost snap, and what comes next for Mona Scott? Trust me, you don't want to miss this. The astonishing reality about the struggle is about to be exposed. Stay tuned for all the bizarre truths that continue to shake the business. The world of reality television is no stranger to turmoil. However, what happened on the set of Love and Hip Hop? Nothing short of explosive. Kirk Frost, a man noted for remaining calm in the heat of the moment, suddenly broke down. And when he did, it wasn't just a minor disagreement. What happened in that set was a clash of titans? A horrific collision that no one could have predicted. So, what prompted this dramatic confrontation, and what does it mean for everyone involved? It all started with a decision that sent shockwaves through the entire Love and Hip Hop realm. Mona Scott, the legendary producer of the enormous Lipular show, bravely removed Kirk Frost and his wife, Rashidita, from the show. If you've ever watched reality TV, you'll understand that these decisions are never taken lightly. When Mona Scott was the mastermind behind the scenes, thinks that a storyline should be changed. It's not just a Mona shift. It's a significant recalibration of the whole dynamic. Many interpreted Mona's decision as a massive power play. One has the potential to influence the program's path. However, Kirk Frost saw this as more than just a professional setback. It felt like a personal assault. And as we all know, Kirk Frost is not someone who, after years of being on the show and dealing with the drama surrounding his marriage, he manages personal slates extremely effectively. The breaking point came when his role and image were replaced by Mona Scott. It felt as if the weight of all the tension that had built up over the years was suddenly broken. Both the show's producers and the audience were the realization that Kirk Frost was more than just another cast member, was an important part of the ongoing tale. His turbulent relationship with Rashida is filled with ups and downs. Betrayal and healing have kept viewers engaged. They sat on the edge of their chairs. So dismissing him and Rashida represented a significant risk for Mona. Scott loses faith in the show's capacity to create drama. Or was this merely a ruse to stir things up? Regardless, Kirk Frost was not going down without a fight. As word of their expulsion surfaced, fans were Some interpreted it as Mona Scott asserting her power and doing what was best for the show. Some believe it was a terrible decision, alienating longtime admirers who liked the chemistry between Kirk and Rashida. But regardless of how you looked at it, one thing was clear. Kirk Frost was furious. And this was not the kind of rage that would be forgotten quickly. You could feel the tension rise. And it wasn't just in front of the camera. This was a significant personal hit. And Kirk Frost was not going to let it go easily. Now, let us not overlook Kirk's rich past. Frost discusses Love and Hip Hop. His reputation on the show has constantly fluctuated, from his big adultery event with Mary Jane to his stormy marriage to Rashida. He had previously been at the center of some of the show's most dramatic moments, and let's face it, Kirk Frost was no stranger to controversy. Whether it was his personal behavior, his relationship with Rashida, or Heisengate, Kirk has always been the type of person who created drama wherever he went. But this was different. This wasn't simply a stage quarrel or a planned scene. This was genuine, and Mona Scott had just taken things to a new level. The decision to dismiss Kirk Frost and Rashida was brave. However, the main worry in everyone was thinking about how Kirk Frost would react. Could the brand exist without one of its most recognizable couples? More importantly, what did this mean for the show's future? 4 weeks before the occurrence, Kirk Frost was visibly unhappy. Rumors circulated behind the scenes, and reports of a confrontation with Mona Scott began to everyone knew something was up. It was only a matter of time before the seething rage spilled over into something greater. And that is just what happened on that terrible day. Tensions reached a boiling point. What began as an uncomfortable but controllable conversation quickly turned into something considerably worse. The cameras were running. The crew was on edge, and there was no turning back. So what happened? Exactly. How did things build an empire by remaining cool, calculated, and in control? This was a clear assault on her authority. Kirk's rage was not merely a personal attack on her. It was a challenge for her. Authority was something that could not be disregarded. Social media surged following the incident. Fans, media outlets, and even other celebrities spoke out on the issue. People could not believe what they had just seen. A publicity stunt, or was Kirk Frost actually out of control? When the video of the confrontation was released, the public reacted immediately. Some agreed with Kirk, saying that he had every right to be outraged, while others sided with Mona Scott, accusing Kirk of unprofessionalism and criticizing the person who had given him a platform. However, the larger concern remained. What did this mean for the future of Do You Love Hip Hop? Could the show withstand the scandal? Was Kirk Frost's conduct an indicator of larger concerns going on behind the scenes? How would Mona Scott respond? This was hardly a minor hiccup. It was a tremendous public relations disaster with long-term implications for everyone involved. The answers to those questions were unclear in the aftermath. Anything is possible on reality television, but this was beyond anything anyone could have predicted. The dramatic clash. This was only the beginning of a much broader and more complex story that would unfold in the coming weeks. As we wait, one thing is certain: love and hip-hop will never be the same again after this massive scandal. Stay in for part 3 of this story, when we'll go deeper into the consequences of Kirk Frost's startling attack and what it means for the future of the show and everyone involved. As the dust settles after the unexpected occurrence between Kirk Frost and Mona Scott's true question is what happens next. This incident isn't just a minor blip on the radar. Reality television. It's the type of situation that might impact the entire landscape of love and hip-hop, and possibly ruin careers in the aftermath. After all, this was more than just a disagreement between two cast members. It was a full-fledged attack that was captured on video and shared widely on social media, with millions of people viewing it. So where will this story go from here? What happened to Kirk Frost, Mona Scott, and even the love? What happens to the hip-hop brand after such a huge scandal? The repercussions are still happening, and around the globe, there are no simple solutions on reality television. But one thing is certain: the consequences of this horrific occurrence are far from over if you don't thoroughly appreciate the significance of this clash. Let us break it down. First and foremost, Mona Scott. She found herself in the spotlight in ways she had never expected. Mona was known for her calm temperament and keen mind, built a reputation as the queen of reality TV. But this episode threatened to tarnish that carefully crafted image. After the confrontation, Mona Scott faced not just the physical and emotional consequences of the incident, but she also had to find out how to save her. She had been famous for years as the brain behind some of the top reality television franchises in history. But her image, the foundation of her success, had just suffered a huge blow. Her capacity to maintain control and keep things going smoothly, and the ability to create drama in front of cameras was being called into doubt. Despite being a veteran on the field, Kirk's actions set a dangerous precedent, and it was clear that the aftermath would not be easy. Manage the legal issues. Beyond the public relations nightmare, Kirk Frost could face hefty legal penalties. After all, the confrontation was more than just a minor disagreement between colleagues. It was a savage attack, while Mona Scott was fortunate not to receive any severe injuries. The truth is that Kirk Frost physically assaulted Mona, paving the way for potential legal action. Legal experts began to speculate that Mona Scott might take Kirk Frost to court for assault, especially because the confrontation was videotaped and observed by millions of people in multiple continents. Physical altercations caught on camera can be used as evidence in court. Mona may decide to initiate a lawsuit against Kirk is the best way to protect herself and send a statement to the company that such behavior will not be tolerated. Of course, Kirk Frost may claim that his actions were an emotional outburst triggered by the stress and frustration he had since being removed from the program. But legal experts believe that this wouldn't be the fact that he physically attacked someone on production. If Mona Scott decides to take legal action, charges may still be filed, regardless of whether they were premeditated, resulting in a lengthy and expensive court battle. This would have a negative impact not only on Kirk's career, but also on the entire Love and Hip Hop series. The final thing: producers and the network want this matter to be resolved through legal means, especially since the show's reputation is already at stake. Implications for the show. Regarding the show's reputation, what does this entail for Love and Hip Hop? The series has been a fixture in the reality TV world for years, but this occurrence has opened a new chapter. The program's history. Can love and hip-hop recover from this issue, or will it mark the start of its demise? The implications for the show are simple. On the one hand, this type of drama is what reality TV thrives on. The more heated the fight, the more viewers flock to the show. Regardless, the issue is that the violence involved has gone too far. This wasn't just a staged quarrel or an overly complex debate, it was an attack. And if the network continues to protect Kirk Frost and Mona after such an incident, Scott may convey a negative message to fans. On the other hand, the producers of Love and Hip Hop U may decide it's time for its court battle. This would have a negative impact not only on Kirk's career, but also on the entire Love and Hip Hop series. The final thing, producers and the network want this matter to be resolved through legal means, especially since the show's reputation is already at stake. Implications for the show. Regarding the show's reputation, what does this entail for Love and Hip Hop? The series has been a fixture in the reality TV world for years, but this occurrence has opened a new chapter. The program's history. Can Love and Hip Hop recover from this issue, or will it mark the start of its demise? The implications for the show are simple. On the one hand, this type of drama is what reality TV thrives on. The more heated the fight, the more viewers flock to the show. Regardless, the issue is that the violence involved has gone too far. This wasn't just a staged quarrel or an overly complex debate, it was an attack. And if the network continues to protect Kirk Frost and Mona after such an incident, Scott may convey a negative message to fans. On the other hand, the producers of Love and Hip Hop U may decide it's